Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. This one seems to be a bit lively. I've just been kind of getting set up in the background. Didn't get a chance to kind of come and say hello to people in the chat before I went live. But oh my God, have you lot been chatting away? There's like a full night's worth of chat already before I even get started. I do want to say before we go on too far, thank you very much, Terry Bass. You are very, very generous. Thank you so much. I also read your comment there as well, saying to get myself and Lou a drink. Thank you very much. I will make sure that next time we have a shopping trip, I'll buy a bottle of wine on you, mate. Thank you very much, sir. Very kind. Let's just see who we've got in the chat and we see how we're doing, and then we'll get into the banter and the rambling and the topic of tonight, which is Dead Zone and where to get started, how to get started, should you get started, all of the above. So Peter Nicholas was in nice and early. There was a lot of people in nice and early, to be fair, but Peter Nicholas is the first one that's shown up on my chat at the minute because it disappears after a while. So yes, all you folks that were coming in and putting your towels on deck chairs earlier on. Peter Nicholas is in though. Let's Talk Board Games was in as well, nice and early, with his recliner and his feet up waiting for the day for him to stream. Let's Talk Board Games, thank you for coming in. We got Fat Cat as well. He says, looking forward to Andy's glorious northern tones in the background while he's at work. Just don't tell the boss. Shh, our secret, mate. Steve Evans is in as well, trying to encourage people to join the glorious plague. We've got Henrik in as well, says, Oi, belter louder. I have no idea what that is, but Oi, belter louder sounds like that could be said by a Geordie. Oi, meaning how you. Belter is a Geordie phrase, which means if something is belter, it means it's really good. And louder, it just sounds like how we say louder. So yeah, it could be anything. Tiberius is in and he's still awake. Phil Wilkinson's in. Mark Coxey's in. Scott Longworth's in. Daniel Engel, Malkavian, Christian Reeves. Hello, sir. Scott Longworth is saying he's got 2 plague starters ready to be built. Hello to all of you gents. Tony Howell is in as well. Robert Zunk's in. Terry Bass, thank you very much, sir, for that donation again. Mark Corley's in as well, saying that Mantic only delivered his starter set last Friday, so the timing of this Dead Zone live stream is impeccable. Just like everything I do, eh? We got Robert Fannelton in as well, saying, what's up, happy Monday. Nice to see you, sir. We've got, who else have we got? Barry Cliver's in as well. Pomsy's in. Nice to see you, gentlemen. Peter Nicholas is saying, I prefer 1/5. Yes, mate, that is a fraction, not a faction. We got more Berracloth in as well, saying the chat's busy as well. Can you speak up? I can't hear you at the back. James Zorm saying, greetings all. I know next to nothing about Dead Zone, so looking forward to hearing what it's all about. That's part of the plot tonight, mate. That's part of what we'll be doing. Glenn Griffin saying, evening, BlackJackerinos. Good evening, sir. And then, of course, it jumps over the top of my screen at that point, and I have to scroll all the way back to see where it was. John Estel's in. He's saying he's looking forward. He's had a lovely curry. Sounds good, mate. And he's not painting the night, just enjoying the chat. Claudio's in as well. Claudio, wouldn't be you. It wouldn't be without you. He said he's had to switch his pants twice tonight. Yes. Claudio has been sort of a fly in my ear about Dead Zone for quite some time now. It's not like I don't like the game or anything like that. Like, that's not why we've not seen it on the channel. Just haven't got my stuff painted, basically. So, but the book's out tonight, so we'll be chatting about it. And the digital book is obviously available online as well. So I'll be flashing it up on the screen and we'll go through some bits and pieces. Robert Marshall in his wallet was continuing to hate him. Stocky's Man Cave says, I'm here for my bedtime, sorry. I've just seen your comment tonight, mate, on my last YouTube video, saying about how sort of interacting with the community. I almost wasn't going to reply to your message just to kind of prove you wrong, but I will get some time and go back and I've got a pile of messages that I have to go back. I tend, because they're getting quite frequent now, I tend to do them in kind of slots. So I'll pour an hour one side and kind of go and answer all the messages and catch up on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to like structure my days these times. Busy's in as well. Nice to see you, Busy. Skull Munch is in. Hello, sir. VJ's here as well. Hello, VJ. Craig McCartney saying, welcome to the Dead Zone. Kieran Burns in as well. Says, sitting back with a beverage looking over the chat. Nice to see you, Kieran. My beverage of choice tonight is water. I know. None of my French lagers tonight. Christian says, where's the BlackJack t-shirt? How am I supposed to promote it if you're not modelling the merch? Do you know what it is, mate? I kind of just forgot to get changed. I normally put a BlackJack shirt on, but I kind of forgot to get changed. I only realised when you mentioned that. Cryovision's in as well. He's painting, but he's in. Daniel Kennedy, hello, sir. He's my first time catching the stream live. Thank you very much. Henrik said it's a phrase from The Expanse. I haven't seen The Expanse, mate. Somebody told me it's good, so I will have to catch up on it. Tony Booth Leiden says you made the mistake of watching your latest video while the wife was around. I thought I'd made it really clear in the title. I put it in great big letters on the thumbnail. You knew what you were getting into, sir. Don't blame me for that one. Rob's saying that he's in DC. It's 4 p.m. Good afternoon to you, sir. David Mackey's in. Mr. Trainer Guys is in the middle of painting 16 Walking Dead walkers, and he's getting them done and dirty for now. That's the way to do it, mate. Jonathan's in as well. Says his copy of Dead Zone box set is getting delivered tomorrow. Perfect timing, sir. Perfect timing. Henrik's planning to paint his Plague to resemble the Expanse proto-molecule hybrids. I'll have to Google that after the show, mate. Goresk's in as well. Nice to see you. Says he's owned a fair few Dead Zone miniatures, but no one wanted to play it. Let's try and put that right. Let's entice a few more in and see if we can do something about it tonight. Josh Price, hello, Josh. Del Bruv's in as well. Why is it whenever it just suddenly gets a big slug of chat and it disappears off the top of my screen? I need to get a screen that's about 6 foot long, I think. We got Matt Mountain in as well, saying it's hashtag Mantic Monday, Blackjackers. Hope you're all well. Dead Zone is one of my favourite games. It's awesome. Hashtag Dead Zone is life. Rob Gates is in. Nice to see you. Mountain Gremlin Games. Hello to you. Tybee saying I've got Mars Attacks, if that counts. It kind of does count, actually, and I'll come on to that in a bit. Rusted Beetle says he's got every faction except the GCPS. They are just too generic and boring. Well, we'll get onto those ones. Scott says I want a t-shirt with I'm a Blackjack Arena on it. Hey, I can always cater to the masses, mate. Peter saying he looked at the Dead Zone on Mantic's homepage today. The starter set looks value. It is value, mate, to be fair. We'll come on to that stuff. Palmsy saying the only thing I know about Dead Zone is that I can't afford to buy it. Well, I'm going to be, speaking of spending money, I will be giving you a 20% off code to be used on the Mantic website on some Dead Zone stuff tonight. So it's going to be applicable for starter sets. It's going to be applicable for the rules. And it's also going to be for the faction starters as well. And I'm also going to tell you about a plan I've got about a little painting challenge around Dead Zone as well, which will have a prize attached to it as well. So we'll come to that. And it's not about how well painted something is. So the standard of your painting does not kind of give you any sort of extra chance. So don't worry about that. Scott's saying, come on, Andy, make them happen. Nice to see Aggression in as well. VJ saying he likes the Veerman. Devon Turner's in from New Jersey. Nice to see you, sir. I always just think of Joyzy. New Joyzy. There you go. That's as far as I go with accents. Simon York's in as well. Says no clue other than Space Ratties. Well, we got Animus Oculus is in as well. Michael Burke's in. Says hello from a fellow Geordie. Hello, sir. He said got the first edition still in wraps. So I was looking to see if I should pick up the second edition. Well, I'll touch on that as well, mate, because I have first and second edition as well, and I'll tell you what's kind of compatible between the two. Jimmy G's in. Mike G's in as well. Nice to see you two, gentlemen. MS Pains, nice to see you, fella. He says, such bad time, and I just talked myself out of buying Dead Zone. See how long that lasts. Sorry, mate. We'll see what I can do. John Nicholson's in as well. He hasn't tried Dead Zone since V1. Yes, I tell you what, then let's very quickly, who else we got? We got John Franz, we got Dr. W. Kruger. Nice to see you two. Everybody else, John Franz? I think that is Simon Morton. Nice to see you, Simon. Robert Marshall saying 20% off on the price for painting my wallet hurts. Right, let's dive in. Andy Smith says, how we pet. Right, let's start with Dead Zone version 1. So version 1 was kickstarted quite some time ago. And one of the big selling points from it was basically the terrain that came with the game as well. And that if you bought into the first edition of Dead Zone and you've not touched anything else since then, all of your miniatures are still relevant. Your mat that you got with it is still relevant. Your terrain that you got with it is relevant. The cards that came in the original set are no longer used in version 2, and the tokens have kind of changed a little bit as well. You will have to pick a few bits and pieces up, such as command dice, but we'll come on to that now. But if you've got a version 1, or you can pick up a version 1 cheap somewhere because it's no longer the latest edition or something, it's still good value. Terrain is good value. You get the mat in there as well. The two, I think you got Plague and Forge Fathers, was it in the first one? Plague and GCP. Yeah, it is GCPS, isn't it? I'm getting my names. Enforcers. You got Enforcers and Plague in the first set. So yes, you can still use them in the next edition. So I'm going to quickly dash across because. So folks, Dead Zone. This is the book. I've got the hardback book. This book comes in the starter set should you buy the starter set. If you're on the fence, you don't know a lot about Dead Zone, first of all, you're in the right place tonight. Second of all, after this chat's over, get yourself over to the Mantic website, go to the free rules section. The Dead Zone rules are free to download at the moment. And the rules are the full rules as well. Everything that's in those rules is in this book. So I'll very quickly sort of skim down it. There's a little bit from Jake Thornton, who's the designer there. This gives you an idea of basically just kind of how straightforward the rules are, to be fair. The core rules basically here, there's basically about setting up, so starting from page 6 all the way through to essentially page 27 to page 28 is really the rules of the game. So we're talking like 21 pages of rules. It's not a very kind of complex game to get your head around. You've then got things like missions, it tells you how to build your teams. You've got the army lists as well, so I'll come on to that in a little bit as well, but you've got your army lists in the book as well. There's campaign stuff in there as well. There's a really handy quick reference sheet at the back. So everything you need to get started is in that book. So for those that haven't seen Dead Zone before, it's slightly different to most other tabletop games that you may have played. It's almost a little bit about. Sorry, Rusted Beetle's just saying the core book doesn't include escalation, which you need for the updated army list. I'll come on to that in a second, mate. Yeah, you are right. But if you're just wanting to get started, to be fair, you could use the lists that are in that book or in the free section if you just want to give it a try. So, what was I just saying? Yes, it's a little bit sort of different from most skirmish games you'll have played. And Tiberius, you were saying you'd played Mars Attacks. Mars Attacks is kind of was there almost like a predecessor to this, and it works basically upon moving between squares or cubes on the board. So can you see my? Yeah, you can see my cursor moving around there. So you have 8 by 8 squares, but then you can see the terrain that comes with Dead Zone is in these 3-inch by 3-inch cubes as well. So you could move like 1 square to there, or you can move 1 square to the top of that one. That's kind of how it works. I think that's the terrain that you get in the starter box. The more terrain you have, the more interesting, the more tactical the game becomes. But what it means is you are not measuring with rulers. So anybody that's kind of wanting to dip their toe into a skirmish game, into a miniatures game away from board gaming, but doesn't like the idea of having to measure ranges and all that kind of stuff, this is a great entry point, because essentially if you can move 5, you move 5 cubes. That's what it is. And line of sight is pretty straightforward as well. You can either see all of the model, you can see some of the model, or you can see none of the model. There's no kind of edge case type things. So it's really, really clear. You can see it comes with some scatter terrain as well. So, and in the starter box, it comes with a paper mat. The original starter box, which was much more expensive to be fair, came with a neoprene mat, so I have that one. You can buy the neoprene mat on the website as well. So that's what Dead Zone looks like. There's a bit here about the world of Dead Zone, and I won't read through it now. But essentially, there's a little bit here where it's basically saying that. Let me just very briefly read it. Saying Basically, as humanity kind of reaches out into the dark reaches of space, the corporations and the faceless authority of the council find challenges to which they're not equal. Deadly contagions, which are the legacy of long extinct alien civilizations, infestations of terrifying proportions, extra-dimensional incursions, and a myriad of other ineffable dangers lurk in the dark frontiers at the edge of space. Sometimes these are discovered when a world is first encountered. Other times it may be months, years, or even decades after a world's been settled by one or more corporations before the danger is realized. Regardless, the end result will always be the same: containment protocol. And this is where the name Dead Zone comes from. Declared by the Council and enacted by the Enforcer Corps, a containment protocol is the ultimate sanction used to prevent such dangers from being known by or spread into the wider GCPS. A planet will be wiped from the maps, cut off from the rest of humanity, and cleansed by the Enforcers. Planets subject to such protocols and known colloquially by another name, spoken in the whispers in shadow circles in dark bars in the length and breadth of the GCPS, is dead zones. So essentially a dead zone is when they find they find a planet, they find a place that basically they can't do anything with it. They can't overcome it. They can't turn them kind of like sort of friendly or kind of like subservient. So they literally just lock these things off, and these are the dead zones. And this is where you're basically fighting. So you basically, so the game plays on the mat. So it's 8x8, which is 8 sets of 3 inches. So my mind's going to go 3, 6, 9, 12, 24 inch square, 2 foot by 2 foot. I thought it was, but I thought I'd better check there. So it's 2 foot square as well. So we're not talking a big play area. We're talking, coffee table, kitchen table type stuff. Perfect if space is a bit of a premium for you as well. So yeah, it tells you sort of how to get your strike teams together. Gives you some information. Tells you about deployment. Now what you do is there are let me show you. You essentially, if you're familiar with Mantic stuff, a lot of their rules cross over between games. So if you're familiar with something like Dreadball, which uses like a 3 dice test, where stats will have a 4+, and modifiers to that don't modify the 4+, they modify how many dice you get to roll against that test. And that's exactly what happens in Dead Zone as well. So it's saying here you get dice tests. So there's how many dice you roll, there's a target number which is in your stats, and then the number of successes you need to enable that to be a success. I also should tell you as well is that it uses D8s this game as well, not D6. And then another interesting thing it has is command dice. Now this wasn't in version 1, this was in version 2. And command dice is, I think there might be a picture of them. Yes, so command dice are D6s and they have these symbols on them. So when I was saying if you've picked up version 1, you might have to buy some stuff for version 2. Command dice are one of those things. You could use a normal D6 and just kind of reference this table if you like, but it just makes it a little bit easier. And essentially what you do is you take, let's just say it's three command dice. You roll your 3 command dice, and then you have these symbols. You then get a free reroll, and you can pick up as many of the dice you've rolled and re-roll them. You have to settle with what you get the second time, however. And these are basically like sort of boosters that you can use during your game. So for example, there's +1 model that allows you to activate a second model straight away. There's basically a dice symbol which allows you to add an extra dice to a shoot, fight, or a survive test. So obviously if you're rolling 3 dice and you really want to make sure something happens, you can add a dice to it. You get a free move action, and you get a free shoot action, you get a free fight action, which is kind of like melee close combat, and the Mantic Splat. Each faction has a specific kind of special ability, and if you get that splat, you can activate that ability. So if you are familiar with Vanguard, where you have the command dice kind of thing at the start, the special dice, it's kind of similar along them lines. If you're familiar with Warcry, where you're rolling your dice at the start to get doubles and triples and stuff, it's almost kind of along them lines as well. Dead Zone, I had them in long before Warcry ever did, however. So yeah, there's some standard missions and that in there. Essentially, if stat lines are very similar, so you've got where are we? There is, thought we would have saw a stat line thing there. Where's it at? We'll come to the stat lines in a second. Here they are. You basically have movement, you have shooting, fight, saves, sizes of your models as well, which is this bit here. But essentially, this is all the stats that you have. You have a few things here with like pistol, R3, wrist blade, that kind of stuff. There's some references to these, but they are very, very simple. It really does make it simple. And the fact that you're not modifying the stats that's on this card. So for example, this model here, this Enforcer model, always shoots on a 4+. He might get 3 dice, he might get 5 dice, he might get 1 dice, depend upon the situation, but it's always a 4+. And that's a 4+ on a D8 as well, remember. There's obviously some difference. So you've got an Assault Enforcer, you've got a Standard Enforcer, an Enforcer with a Burst Laser. You also have points here. So this is how you do your list building. It tells you how many points the model is. And VPs is basically how many VPs your opponent gets should he take that model out as well. So obviously expensive models, whilst they might be very powerful, they also give your opponent a lot of VPs. So that is essentially basically the basics of the game, really. It works in a similar way to Vanguard does, where you have short actions and long actions. So every time you activate a model and it's I go, you go, you can perform either 1 long action or up to 2 short actions. And the rules, which I say are free, so you'll be able to read them yourself as well. You can see these kind of things you do. You notice the move there basically is a short action. It's got 2 stats in here. You can move. So the first number is how many you move with your first speed, first action, and where is it? The second one, I forget what it is now. It's basically a sprint, so that's how many you can move if you're sprinting, for example. So sprint is a long action. Shows you about how scenery works. The Mantic terrain actually has some very specific things here. It tells you what size can fit through the gaps. So there's no kind of like, oh, well, can the model fit through? You know, the model can, but his base is too big. It's all to do with the size of the model. So that's really straightforward too. And then I'll scroll over some of this stuff. There's some really nice artwork in here, to be fair, as well. It's worth having a look through it just for the artwork. What I'm showing you is the free version that is online as well. So you'll be able to see all of this stuff. These are the information that's on the stat lines as well. So it's saying that a model using a weapon with rapid fire may rule to elect to fire for effect, these kind of things. Anyway, so it means nothing if you don't know the game, but essentially the rules are very, very straightforward. These are basically rolling for missions. Some nice pictures there as well in the book. Tells you how to build your strike teams, where you have your leaders, your troops, specialists and vehicles. So there's a standard way to do that as well. And then let me just skip to the end. So, what I will say is, as I scroll through here, all of the different army lists are in here. The points lists have been updated in a second book that is out now. But if you've just given it a try, don't worry about that at this stage. And then if I come to the end, you can see there's some really nice models as well, to be fair. We'll come all the way down to the end of this. Let me jump. I think it's still kind of low. Yeah, so there's this quick reference sheet at the end, which, to be fair, you can almost play the entire game just by reading this quick reference. It tells you exactly what everything is. So, for example, if you're fighting, basically, let's have a look at shooting as an example. So basically, if you're shooting, you check your range and your line of sight. The shooter rolls 3 dice. If it's a clear shot, so if the person you're shooting is out in the open, you get an extra 2 dice. If you've got any friendly models, so you're shooting into a cube that has one of your models in it as well, you lose 2 dice. If you've got higher ground, so if you're 1 cube or more higher, you get an extra dice. Firing for effect is something else I'll not go into now. And then it shows you how your opponent basically does the survive test as well. And it's just like sort of like a save and throw. So it is really, really straightforward. And like I say, your stat number never changes. The amount of dice you are rolling is what changes. So that's the basics of the game, folks. Here we have the Mantic site, and this will tell you lots of information about the different stuff. We're talking here, playing time is about 90 minutes, and that's probably for about a 300-point game. Starter factions, if you like, on the website are about 150 points. And you can play from 100 points, which might be like 3 or 4 models. So we really are talking kind of like low model count as well. So the main factions, there are some sub-factions and some like little strange bits and pieces, but the main factions are the Asterians, the Enforcers, the Forge Fathers, the GCPS, the Marauders, the Mason Labs, the Nameless, the Plague, the Rebs, which I actually quite like, and the Veermen as well. And essentially, if you go to the Mantic site, let's go to shop, Dead Zone, getting started. So this Dead Zone hardback rulebook, this is this one. This is what is free on the website at the moment. Starter set. This is your second edition starter set. Inside that set, you get the terrain, you get the Enforcers, you get the rule book, you get the Forge Fathers, you get dice, you get the paper mat and the terrain as well, as I mentioned before. So let's just very quickly, you can see them a little bit bigger as well. Rule book, there's your Enforcers, there's your Forge Fathers, the dice, there's the instructions for assembling them. They are a little bit fiddly, I would say. They're a little bit fiddly to build, but once you've done them, you've done them. Quite a few small parts, I would say. But yeah, that's 50 quid on their site. And like I say, I'll be giving you a 20% off code tonight as well you can use on that. The other thing which has been mentioned is this book here, which is Command Protocols Escalation. Now this is the latest kind of expansion, if you like. And it's like an update. So basically, it's got rules in here for adding mercenaries to your games. So you can add mercs in to fight alongside your factions. The Rebs get a boost with some new fighters. So there's some extra models that are not in this original book, which are a boost for the Rebs. The Veermen also get some extra support as well with a faction called the Vault Chasers, which is like a sub-faction of the Veermen. All of the faction lists have been reprinted with the new updated stats for the new updated like sort of point cost and any stats and stuff, and any errata that had happened over time as well is also in there. There's also rules for putting extra mats together, so you can put 2 mats together, 4 mats together, and have much bigger games. And there's some extra sort of scenario stuff and that in there as well. That book's normally $14.99. It's now $7.49. It's half price at the moment. So it's not something that you desperately need if you're wanting to just sort of touch your toe in the water, if you like, and give it a try. But it does have all of the updated lists and stuff. But with the first book being free or inside the starter set, I don't think $7.49 is too bad for that, to be fair. If we go back to the getting started, you'll also see that these Dead Zone Intel deck. This is purely optional. You don't have to have this. Don't get kind of like worried about, oh, I need this and I need this, and then there's these cards and all this kind of stuff. You don't need the cards if you're just getting started. It's basically it's an entirely new way to play a Dead Zone. That you never know what your next target will be, and the Intel deck represents this with missions that change on the fly. So it's a nice way to kind of enhance the game if you're used to it and you want to mix it up a little bit, but don't get sidetracked and think that you need to have this from day one. And then basically you have all of your different factions here that we're looking at. So factions, I'm torn, folks, because I've bought Dead Zone the first edition and I've bought Dead Zone second edition. So I have Forge Fathers, I've got Enforcers, and I've got some Plague as well. Now I have to make sure I can find all these models first of all, but I'm quite fancying kind of starting afresh with a new faction. I don't want to do the Forge Fathers because I'm doing my Dwarfs for Kings of War, so I like a little bit of a change, I think. I'm tempted, and I'll show you the ones I'm tempted with. I'm either tempted with the Mercs. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different bits and pieces of here, sort of different mercenary models. However, where's the one I was looking at? Was it in here? So they have these kind of faction starters, so that either $24.99, $29.99, depending upon them. and those are the mats there as well. Rebs, sorry, that's the ones I was looking at. The Rebs Alpha Team faction starter. I'm kind of tempted by, I just like these models. I think they're pretty cool. So there's a lot of character to them. You know, they're like nothing else really. They're very kind of sort of clean sci-fi. I like that style about them. Some cool models. This one in particular, really, I mean, the quality of the sculpt on the face there is fantastic. These are the kind of ones that I'm quite sort of tempted by. So there's that one. And I'm also tempted by the Veerman as well. So let's have a quick look at the Veerman. As you know, these are space rats, kind of get everybody excited. Steve saying no to the plague. We'll get to that one, mate. Yeah, but just little space rats. They just look kind of, they've just got character about them. I like the fact they've got the little gas masks on and the kind of little drillers and all that kind of stuff. Some nice, nice characterful models in that list. So, yes. So the code, folks. The code I'm going to give you, let me go back to the main screen so I can flick across and get it up for you. The code I'm going to give you basically is 20% off any of escalation. So that's the escalation book. 20% off your faction starters. So if you want to get started with a faction starter, and 20% off the starter set also as well. And that code is all one word, all capital letters, is BlackJack DZ for Dead Zone. So I'll post this in the Facebook group tomorrow. I'll put it in the link to the description and stuff like that. If you're fancying dipping your toe in, you fancy giving it a try, BlackJack DZ, all capitals, all one word. That'll get you 20% off those. So thank you to Mantic for giving me that code today to share with you folks. And I think what we'll do as well is, for those of you that know, I'm running a slow grow campaign for Kings of War at the moment. We're halfway through that with 1,000 points going. Thank you, Mike G. That is it. We're halfway through the slow grow campaign for Kings of War. What I want to do is, I want to do a little mini challenge, a little, not even a slow grow because they're small factions, these ones. So what we'll do is I'll set some dates on it. But essentially, if you want to pick up one of these starter sets, I'll give you an end date, which I need to kind of work on, but I'll put it up where you all get to see it. I'll pick an end date, and as long as you paint your faction starter set by the end of the date, by the end date, you'll get entered into a draw for it. So I want you to kind of send me a picture of your, I'll work out how to do this, to be fair. We'll probably set a little challenge group up in the Facebook group. Send me a picture of your new faction box. Send me a picture of your painted faction box, and then everyone goes into a draw, and the winner will get £25 worth of store credit on the Mantic website. So then you can treat yourself to buy the kind of the what they called like the booster set. So you've got your starter faction and then the booster factions. So yeah, so £25 store credit on the Mantic site you'll get for that one. Doesn't matter how good your painting is. I just want you to get them painted and get them played. I don't really care whether you're a kind of golden demon winner or whether you've just kind of spray painted them. I don't really care. You paint how you want to paint. You hobby how you want to hobby. But if you complete the challenge, you get entered into the draw. One person gets £25 of money. So I'll get into those details. Steve's saying he's got them all painted. You probably don't need the £25 voucher then, mate, do you? So let me go back here. Let's have a little catch up in some of the chat here. Scott's saying, can the special characters that were available in V1, can they be used in V2? I'd have to double check me. I don't know off the top of my head. But I'm sure somebody will tell you if they're in the chat. Mark saying he agrees, Scott. I think people are just giving a little bit of love to Mantic as well. Yeah, they're doing pretty good stuff at the minute, to be fair. Let's have a look. Dr. W. Kruger is saying that some of them are used as leaders for elite army lists. Thank you very much, sir. Scott's saying the speeder bike model is amazing. I'll just bring that one up actually because I actually really do like it myself as well. Well, let's have a look. Let's see if I've got to find it now. I think it's in. Is it in the? Somebody will tell me. I'm trying to find out. Is it in the Mercs? I think. I'll find the bike. And the Rebs. There it is. So there's this one. Let's go. How cool is that? That's quite a nice model, isn't it? I must admit these are the kind of things that make me go, yeah. Okay, I could get into this. So yeah, that's pretty nice, mate. Let's have a look. Claudio saying woohoo for the rebellion. Henrik saying could you go over faction fluff and specifics a little bit? Yeah, okay, mate, I can do that if folks are interested. Let me go over Dead Zone. If I go to here, I know I can bring it up here. I'll give you a little bit of flavour about the different factions. So, Asterians, it says there, reclusive Asterians may seem cold and impersonal, and that's because they are. Even when you aren't talking to one of their host-piloted cyber robots, they may be perceived as weak due to their small and nimble frames, but they have a mental core of solid steel, boasting the best shots in the whole of Dead Zone, and that's not just limited to the ciphers. Everyone is pretty handy when it comes to shooting, along with one of the best melee units in the Kalishi, who can take down pretty much anything that Asterians are not to be trifled with. So as you can tell, they're kind of the space elves. They are kind of a little bit probably lightweight, but pack a punch. Enforcers, the Council of Sevens Punishers. When it's going down, this is who humanity turns to, unless you are part of the humanity that's been deemed for liquidation, in which case it's already too late to run. Armor on everyone, good shoot and survive stats, and a wide range of weapons make the Enforcers a tough nut to crack. They are fast and more lightly armored pathfinders, can secure commanding positions early in the game. Their only weakness is in close combat, but the Assault Enforcer can hold its own against most comers. Besides, who would even let them get that close? So these are kind of the good guys, if you like. These are the ones that go in and close down these dead zone areas. Think of these as your Space Marine, if you like, if you try to reference. Forge Fathers are obviously the Space Dwarfs. It says good saves, armor, and excellent weapons, most with armor piercing, to make those Enforcers squeal. They've also got the toughest mech in the game, the Iron Ancestor, which can hold its own against pretty much anything, so expect to survive until the last turn. Forge Guard are heavily armoured and slow, but inexorable, or you could go for their more lightly armoured Hammerfist brothers to drop right into the heart of your enemy's force. Even their even more cantankerous cousins, the Brockers, can do some serious damage in melee. Yeah, the Brockers are nice as well. GCPS, which is... I need to reference it here because I always forget where it is. It's something Core Prosperity. The Galactic Core Prosperity Sphere. That's what it stands for. Puny little humans who can do... what can they do against aliens? Well, outwit you in trade deals, steal all your mineral resources, drain your seas, enslave your population, and beat you hands down on firepower. Specialists like the Ranger allow you to control the battlefield, though don't expect them to survive until the end, as they'll be target number one. But all the time your opponent is dealing with the Rangers, you'll be destroying them with your specialist and heavy weapons teams. Plus, you've got access to the widest range of weapons to choose from any faction. There's a gun for every occasion in the GCPS. Think of these probably as your Imperial Guard type sort of foot soldiers. You know, put out your kind of your cheap sort of disposable troops and hit them with the big weapons. Marauders are your space orcs. So take a moment to look at the range of models they have, and you'll see that they have an answer for everything. With fast units like the Moorbeast and the Skyscraper, able to grab objectives or get into advantageous positions. Meanwhile, the Commandos are no slouches either, with a good shoot and fight and a great survive. Ripper Rainmakers are your Swiss Army knife. Rippers are like a dog with like a chainsaw tongue type thing. Close Combat Brethren, the Mauler, can deal out some serious damage too. For pure killing power though, you need look no further than the Hulk with a Strider-sized Hugh cannon to boot. I think you'll find that's him in the background there. Mason Labs. Now this is interesting. So we talked about a little bit about how, and I just seen VJ saying there as well, am I correct in thinking Dead Zone is to Warpath as Kill Team is to 40k? Kind of. So within Mantic's universe, they have the Warpath universe, which is the sci-fi, and they have the Kings of War universe. Within that Warpath universe, you have Star Saga, which is their dungeon crawler kind of version of Dungeon Saga. And there are two factions in there. I think it's the Mason Labs is definitely one of them. The Nameless might be the other. I could be wrong on that one. So if you buy the dungeons, if you buy the Star Saga set, you already have 2 factions you can use in Dead Zone. That's another great way to get started in Dead Zone as well, if you know somebody that already has terrain and bits and pieces as well. So yeah, these guys are just the GCPS, not even close. They have everything the GCPS have and more in the fast attack. Sorry, before I do that, yes. So moving up from Star Saga into the skirmish game, which is Dead Zone. You can then move up into Warpath Firefight, which is kind of somewhere between a more familiar looking kind of skirmish game, if you like, with a few more troops. And then you have Warpath, which is their big 40k type game. So you could kind of reference it as this being Kill Team to 40k's kind of Warpath. So yeah, there is that kind of thing. But all of the models go right through the range, and you can use them in all. So whatever you buy for for Dead Zone, you can use in Firefight. You can use them in Warpath as well. Yeah, so these are basically like your kind of like your lab things. They have everything the GCPS has and more in the fast attack from plague victims, psychic support from the organic data storage unit, and the pure destructive capacity of the aberration. Don't forget lowly lab techs, who are very important role in grabbing objectives and keeping your plague victims from rampaging through their shock battens. The security guards are good supporting models with your Urbana Blackwing Rangers, able to scout ahead. So yeah, these are a bit more tricksy. Nameless, these are very much kind of alien figures basically. These botanical aliens are a mixed bunch with some decent shooting in a few models, some great fighting in a few too. However, you use them well, and you have to maximize the uniqueness of each model by using stealthy psychic support and trickling shards to get the most from them. Yeah, some big ones in there. Plague is they're almost kind of like your zombies. They go through basically, they're an infected plague, and there is different stages of the infection. So you start off with something that look relatively human with a little bit deformed. They become slightly more alien looking, and they can kind of work their way right up to these huge big things, which are basically, I can't even remember their names now, aberrations I think they're called. And you even have kind of like sort of like zombie like infected dogs as well. So I don't even know how I would like these. Will these be? It wouldn't be like these would be like Gene Stealer Cult. I would guess, and I would guess these are probably like a Tyranid if you like. Rebs. These are basically disillusioned, maligned, and alien species that basically the GCPS has basically kind of upset over time. So they've got to answer for everything. You want combat, go Teratons, Crow, and Sorak. If you want shooting, go Snipers, Sphere, Lancers, and Mortars. Sphere Lancers, sorry. And then there's some heavy support with Teratons as well. So this is a good mix of kind of a jack of all trades, if you like. It feels very Star Wars, I think, this faction. And then Veerman basically hit all your space rats. Hidden for decades just below the surface of humanity's industrial complexes, now's the time for the Veerman to break out of their gloom. Speed, numbers, and hiding are the keys here. So think of these very much like kind of low point cost, higher numbers, fast, kind of just causing mayhem basically. So yeah, that's a bit of a brief overview anyway. But you can check out that on the Mantic website should you want to as well. Scott's saying, can we get a list of items needed to convert from V1 to V2 in the group? I'll pop something in there tomorrow, mate. I'll definitely do that. Jonathan Elgie says, can't wait for the Enforcer Space Dog. Yeah, there's quite a lot of cool stuff coming. VGS says, will you be doing sessions like this on Kings of War and Warpath? If folks are interested, I am more than happy to. I mean, I've not actually played Warpath, to be fair. I've never managed to get up to that skill, but obviously I've played Kings of War. You know, I'm interested in that. I'm quite happy to kind of do that kind of background in Kings of War. I will certainly learn about Warpath. And if people are interested in it, because I've mentioned this before, like over the last few weeks and stuff, because of the way this channel is now funded by you, the community, I'm making stuff that I want to make, and I'm making stuff that you want me to make. So if you folks are interested in Warpath, I don't see it get covered anywhere else in general. That doesn't mean we can't cover it. I'm not worried about how many views I get. if there's a core audience of people want to come and hear about Warpath, I'll do Warpath, mate. So yeah, I'll throw it out there as well. If people want that, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you watch this back. I'm always happy to do that kind of stuff. Busey's just got the calculator out. 40 quid with a 20% off is £32, mate. Claudio's saying 8 normal missions, 4 updated from the rule book. This is all the stuff that's in the escalation book. Thank you, mate. Claudio's saying Mercs are their own faction in escalation. It's so awesome. VJ's off. He's going to come back. Simon York says, is Warpath a bit more traditional with measured movement, etc.? It is, mate. Yeah, it's much more kind of like a traditional game. The thing that really sets Dead Zone apart is that really small 2 foot by 2 foot in the cube movement. It's just like where you place your model inside the cube is important, because if you put it in front of some like sort of rubble, you're going to be out in the open. If you place it behind some rubble, you've got some cover. So placing it where you place it in the cube is the tactical stuff kind of thing. But it's just if your movement's 1, you move 1 cube. If your movement's 3, you can move 3 cubes. So it's just really, really clever how it works. And I am hugely surprised we haven't seen more games try and adapt it, because it really does streamline. There's none of this kind of like, oh, well, you know, you're within half an inch or you're just outside of range to shoot or any of that. It's either you're 3 cubes away, you're 5 cubes away. Like, it's really, really straightforward. There's none of this kind of like arguing the toss about kind of, are you in range, are you not in range? Scott's saying, is the Nexus Psi book the same as the V1 book? The Nexus Psi book is also free at the minute, and it has some solo missions in it as well, mate, so you can still use it. Hello, Hal Martin. Nice to see you, fella. Mark saying, any of those available on the Mantic point system? There are some stuff available on the Mantic point system, mate. There are some Dead Zone stuff there. Yeah, and Dr. Crew there saying that the second edition Nexus Psi is a completely different book. I didn't realize they were both called the same thing, to be fair. Thank you, Christian, for sharing the stuff there as well. Krabby Vision says, I fancied those. What? Oh, he did until I jumped up on my screen. Where are we off? Plenty of chat tonight. He said, quite fancy those Rebs for the same reason. Sculpts look great. Yes, mate, they are very nice. Books from V1, no, not valid now, mate. Ignore the V1 books. The game was a bit different. It used cards and a very different kind of mechanic. It didn't use the command dice either. Ignore your V1 books unless you just want to play V1 at home kind of thing. But yeah, just ignore your V1 books now. Animus Oculus is saying he's got Forge Fathers, Enforcers, Asterians, a few Mercs. Maybe in a distant future, I want to get Vehemens. Yeah, have you got them all painted up, mate? Because I should add this as well, by the way. I'm not just suggesting that this kind of like this little competition is for people who only buy new stuff. If you've got some you've not played before, if you've got some lying around in a drawer and you've never got round to painting them, or they're half finished or something like that, get them out. I just want to see people giving it a try. That's all. So don't worry about if you've already got stuff. Make sure they do have to be Mantic models, because Mantic are the ones that are giving away the prize. However, if you've got stuff lying around the house that you've not used yet, get them out and get them involved. Robert's saying, I jump back and forth between factions. I've got a lot of Star Saga stuff. You have a faction or two for Dead Zone. Yeah, exactly, mate. Mike G says, dang it, just primed my faceless. Prime still counts, mate. That's all right, don't worry. I'll get a picture of it before you go any further. I'm all right with that. David Mackey says, just before Payday Evil. Well, I said I was doing this tonight, and then Mantic got in touch and said, would you like an offer code to share with the viewers tonight? So, to be fair, this wasn't Mantic wanting to talk about this tonight. I'd already decided I was talking about it. They just kind of offered the code to you folks. So, yeah, this is not meant to be a sales pitch for them. And by all if your local gaming store sells Mantic stuff, by all means support your local gaming store as well. Rusted Beetle saying the bikes are in the Enforcers. I knew I'd missed it somewhere. Let me go back and get that one for you so I can show you that bike, because I do like that bike as well. I must say I'm quite impressed with it. The newer Mantic website now is really easy to kind of find your way around. It's not showing up in the Enforcers list. That's why I couldn't find it before. Let's not worry about it. where are we at? On GCPS, that's why. We go backwards and forwards now. We will find it, folks. Honestly, there we go. There it is. There's the monocycle there. So, how cool is that? I have to say, I do like that model. That's obviously the resin, the render of it, but yeah, it's resin. And then you've got things like this as well, folks, which is like the Enforcer Striders and stuff. Big kind of hulking mechs and stuff, which are pretty cool. Yeah, very nice. So, let's go back to the main screen. Yeah, people are saying about the Star Saga minis can be used. The rules are in the escalation book. John's saying, don't forget the Nexus Psi solo campaign is free to download. Yeah, so actually, let me just go across and I'll show you where you need to go. So, should you go to the Mantic website, let me go to the home screen. So, if you just go to Mantic, you'll come up here. You'll see there is a tab here at the top which says free rules. Go to free rules. What would you find there? All the free rules. So, we've got Vanguard in there, got Kings of War rules, Dead Zone. So, there's the Dead Zone digital book, which is, again, that's the one that's this one here. There's the FAQ and the errata, and then there's the Nexus Psi. They are all free at the moment. The digital rulebook is normally £20 for the Dead Zone rules, and the Nexus Psi is normally £8 or £7.99. There's also Walking Dead in there as well, plenty of stuff for that. There is all the Dreadball stuff, and then there's Warpath and Firefight as well. So the Warpath rules are free as well, so they're normally £15. They're free, and there's also a Warpath First Strike digital book as well, which I think that's just going to let me download it. There's Dungeon Saga, there's Star Saga as well, so plenty of free rules in there. Should you want to just kind of cast your eye over it and have a look. Devon saying he grabbed the first edition Plague and Marauder starters at a convention for cheap. Might take his opportunity to finally get them selling paid. Do it, mate. What a perfect opportunity. Krabby says also expand on that. Is there any further lore or faction info anywhere to read? I've got a feeling, mate. I think that book for Firefight, Warpath First Strike, I thought was a novel. Tell you what, let me just open it in the background and I'll have a look at it. Yes, it is, mate. So, Warpath First Strike Digital is actually like a novel. So you can actually download that for free. It's normally $4.99. It's free at the minute. You can have a little read of it, mate. There's a little bit of background stuff in here, but not a huge amount, I should add. But there is kind of information about the different factions and stuff inside that free book as well. Where we are, Robert's saying that when you say the models are fiddly, how user friendly are that? They're not bad, mate. There's just quite a lot of kind of smaller parts, if you like, especially with like the Enforcers and things. I think some of the other models, the later ones, are not quite as bad, but some of the first, like the earlier models, if you like, there's quite a lot. But I managed to build them, like. And to be fair, I don't think I realised they had the instructions online, which is one of the things that kind of like when you see all the little bags of stuff, you just go like, crap, what am I meant to do with all this? The instructions are online, which does kind of clear that up, really. They're not fiddly like, let's say, they're not fiddly like Infinity miniatures. They're not fiddly like Malifaux miniatures. So, and they're plastic as well, those ones. So, he says, Peter saying his internet keeps dropping out. And Michael Burke saying his Virgin Media. Hello, Michael Burke, by the way. Yeah, sorry, mate. William says, just got knocked way out of focus. It's not my camera, mate. I think it's YouTube keeps downgrading the quality, mate. If you go on, there should be like a little kind of cog in the corner of YouTube where you can click it back to 1080p. It should be absolutely fine, mate. Yeah, William saying, no, it's back. Kruger says, user-friendly is a difficult term. The hard plastic on sprues like the GW stuff is pretty easy to work with. Plus, there's guides. The PV stuff can be a bit of a pest. I would back that up as well. Starkey saying, I watched your I haven't spent a penny on hobby in 6 months video within earshot of my missus and said, I'll do that. A couple of hours late, babe. Blackjack said, oh, the look I got. I'm not suggesting anybody goes 6 months without buying any hobby bits. What I was trying to say was, I didn't spend anything on my hobby for 6 months, and I learned quite a lot through it. What I learned was that actually I bought stuff in the past that I never really needed. I didn't really want. I just fancied buying something new, and by not buying anything, I think I've discovered for myself now where that boundary is. When I'm getting that kind of twinge to just buy something, and when actually I know that I really want something, and then I'm buying the stuff that I want. And it's also given me kind of perspective and time to work through some of my older stuff, of which DEADZONE is one of those things that's come back to the forefront again. It's something that I've had for ages, and I haven't painted it. I haven't done anything with it. It's why you never see it on the channel. It's that kind of stuff. So by all means, buy yourself the stuff that you want, but buy yourself the stuff that you want. Don't buy the stuff because you just want something new, or it's the new shiny thing and you're getting attracted to it even though you know you'll not use it. That was the moral of the story. Where are we at? Scott's saying GCPS out of stock. Just have a double check, mate, and keep an eye out. You can also check friendly local gaming stores as well. Might have some stocks in. Matt's saying the Warpath source book that comes in the rule book set is full of fluff and background. Yeah, I downloaded it as well, mate. So I'll be reading that at some point. Dr. Kruger is also saying there, further fluff needs the DEADZONE Dossiers anthology. It's $1.99 for the digital copy on the Mantic store on the warehouse clearance page. Let me find that, mate, and I will just make sure everyone knows what we're looking at. If we go to shop, warehouse bargains, yes, here it is. So, DEADZONE Dossiers, a DEADZONE anthology, digital. So yeah. $1.99 at the moment, normally £4. That can't be too bad, can it? And then there's a number of different stories that are in there as well, which should be worth a read. Where are we at? Daniel saying, did he say what the promo was? Yes, mate, Dr. Kruger's just shared it there as well. What I'll do, folks, anybody that's in the chat tonight that's not normally a subscriber to my channel, I'd love you to subscribe and come back again. I'll certainly be having more DEADZONE stuff on the channel. So thank you for coming in tonight if you're new. If you're also not a member of my Facebook group, I know Christian shared it, and he'll probably share it again at some point, please come over to the Facebook group as well. That's probably the best place where I'll run this little kind of sort of DEADZONE competition thing, this little giveaway. So please do come over there as well. And that will be awesome. And I'll put a little note into the DEADZONE Fanatics page tomorrow, just to let everybody know as well. Where are we talking? Joe is Joe27. Nice to see you, Joe. He says, is DEADZONE a game that can be played solo? You can play it solo with the Nexus Psi rules that are free at the moment. So if you're thinking about that, go and download them while they're free, because they won't always be free, to be fair. Thank you, Dr. Crew, for clarifying that as well. Jonathan is saying, I'm also a vet. Do I get to re-roll any failed saves for the dog? I'm sure you could house rule that, mate. I'd give you, if I was playing against you, I'd give you that one. Robert's saying he'd like to see something on Warpath. Scott's saying, yes, please, Andy. Happy to listen wherever you stream. Sam Goose, nice to see you, Sam. Says, oh, he did say it until he shot it on my screen again. Where are we? Wow, there's a load of chat tonight, folks. I don't even know how far behind I am. There we are. How far behind am I? I'm not too far behind. I'm about 10-15 minutes behind. Sam says he got Star Saga, loves the models. 40k is only about Space Marines. Star Saga I find more interesting setting. Yeah, I have to say, I must admit, it's kind of it's not the kind of grim kind of future. Yes, it's grim if you like, because it's I tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me a bit more of Star Wars, of that kind of setting, and Firefly, that kind of sci-fi. It also reminds me of Core Space as well. So if anybody's familiar with Core Space, it's that kind of futuristic sci-fi, as opposed to sort of the whole, like, it's the end of the world, kind of like 40 minutes from death kind of thing. Oh, sorry, mate. I thought you said it was 40 quid and you were wondering how much it's, if it was 20% off. Sorry. That's why I said 32 quid, because that's what 20% off it is. But no, not if the starter set's going to be 40 quid after the discount. Yes, sorry, mate. John Francis, mechanics sound really straightforward. I'm liking height and 3D terrain. Yeah, I mean, obviously Mantic sell their own terrain sets as well. Let me just kind of very quickly show you on them. So if you decide to expand it into the future and stuff, you can see the kind of terrain that is available, because it's not like the stuff in the starter box, is it? Let me go back over to here. So you have these kind of little battlefield ruin sets and stuff. There's like foundries. Like there's some terrain there, for example. Some extra units. You can buy kind of like you can basically build it however you like. But there are a number of different kind of like preset stuff. Like if you're not sure what you want to do, so for example, there's these big sets as well. Don't forget, you can use these for any sci-fi game you want. They work great for Infinity. They work great for 40k as well. I might do a bit of a kind of how to paint them up really quick with some spray cans and stuff and a bit of weathering if people are interested. But yeah, so there's some really good terrain sets, but it is multiple use. You can use it for whatever you want. So don't feel like it's kind of like if I buy any, even if you buy the Dead Zone starter set, you get 2 factions and some terrain. You can use them to play Star Breach. You can use them to play any of the other kind of like miniature agnostic games as well. So even if this ends up not being for you, it can still be kind of good value, money well spent. Deep Red's in as well. Nice to see you, Deep Red. How are you doing? Yeah, yeah. I did miscalculate. I only miscalculated because I thought you were talking about it being 40 quid. Dr. Kruger there saying Rebs are fun and highly varied faction, loads of new stuff in escalation. Downside is there's no hard plastic, it's all PVC, which can be a bit of a mare to work with. Yeah, I have worked with it before. I might need to kind of look into that kind of stuff as well, but I must admit the models look nice. I think once I've built them, I can stop worrying about what the material is really. Matt's saying current Warpath is similar to Kings of War, where models are on trays rather than moving individually. I forgot about that, mate. You were right. It says bases take wounds and are removed as a whole base. I forgot that was the case. Thank you for clarifying that, mate. Steve Evans is saying 150 to 200 points is a standard game size. Thank you for that as well, Steve. So yeah, I think there's about 150 points in a starter faction. I think I'm remembering that right. Mr. Trainer saying they have zombie survival solo rules as well. That's right, mate. They're in the Nexus Psi bit. Yeah, everybody giving me grief now for my math. I thought you'd tell me 40 quid. Dice DL says his first Dead Zone was a tourney in Manchester. Dived straight in with Rebs, not played since, but seen it set up in Platinum Gaming Club a few times. Yeah, I think it's getting a bit of a second wind at the minute. I'm seeing a lot online about people seem to be diving into it at the minute. I think because people maybe can't get their GW fix at the moment, they're looking around to see the other stuff that's out there. And I think this is a perfect time for Dead Zone. Like I said, really straightforward rules, really small play area, don't need a lot of models, really kind of clear and concise rules. It's worth giving it a try. The rules are free. You can probably play with kind of like with models you've already got if you just want to give it a go. To be fair, get yourself some paper and just mark out the cubes and give it a try. Warpath First Strike Digital is free on the website. That's right, mate. Animus Oculus is saying that they're 50% painted each. If they're not fully painted, mate, get them included. I'm happy with that kind of stuff. I just want to see people finishing stuff. Claudio says I have to start a YouTube Warpath lore channel or guest appearance. Do it, mate. Do it. Mark saying that the enforcers look great. The sniper guy in the cloak looks like an amazing sculpt. Scott saying, oh no, my basket is £112 with a discount code. Claudio saying the new Rebs have mostly one piece. That might be I'm not a big fan of building stuff, to be fair. John Francis saying there's also a Forge Fathers novel called Ghost in the Machine. It's a couple of quid. I'll have to look out for that, mate. Sam Goose says I might melt down all my Citadel miniatures and use the melted goo to model some GPS bikes. Glenn's on about Virgin Media issues, and Daniel says, and ordered. Mark says, do you know how long the code works for? It will expire at some point, mate. Rob didn't tell me the date. I will clarify that with him tomorrow. But I'm not entirely sure. Beauty, I can see the internet connection's at 144. I can see a beard in her face. As long as you can hear me, mate, that's all that matters. Of course, it's jumping around again. You lot are chatting lots tonight. I like that. I like these busy chats. How many we got in tonight? 90 people. 90 people talking about Dead Zone. That can't be bad, can it? 90 is normally that kind of like war cry number. So there you go. 91 is just going up as well. Come on, let's get it up to 100. Go and tell your friends. Let's get it to 100. Devon Turner says, been trying to move to buying new rules over new minis, although I keep making exceptions. Yeah, I think sometimes that tends to be, you can make an exception for something, especially if you've got some value in what you're putting your money into as well. Snaz Gob saying the digital rulebook's free. I mentioned that, mate. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining the chat. Daniel Engel saying, in case it wasn't mentioned, this code does stacks with the lockdown madness code. You probably shouldn't. Terry says, Kings of War or Dead Zone, now I'm spoilt. But I best not jump between the two and decide quick. Terry, I think it depends. The biggest difference, if you prefer fantasy over sci-fi, if that'll lead you one direction. If you're looking for a big 6x4 mass battle game, or you're looking for something small and skirmish, that might swing you one way or the other. But yeah, drop me a note, mate. If you want any more information after the stream and stuff, feel free to drop me a note, buddy. Julian Anker saying, don't forget to click like. Thank you, Julian. I love you, man. Rick Hall says, does this mean at Adepticon 2021 you'll be my ringer? Rick, thank you very much for coming in, mate. I think I missed you. I think you were the last name on the chat when I stopped talking about people. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? There you go, right, folks. I will commit. I will commit to it for Adepticon. Because at least it's a lot easier for me to carry a Dead Zone warband than it is to carry my Kings of War army, that's for sure. Craig said, if you search YouTube for Dead Zone containment protocols, you'll find an audio book read and recorded by fans who also used to do the Dead Zone podcast. Yeah, the guys who do the Dead Zone podcast, or Dead Zone the podcast, whichever it was. Yeah, they're good guys, actually. Glenn saying, giant rat men walking around in spacesuits. Sounds pretty grim to me. Yeah, but they're colourful. They're bright orange suits. Excuse me. So that's Gob saying, if anyone's interested, Dreadball 2nd edition is £28 on Amazon at the moment. Yes, I'm playing a bit of Dreadball with my wife at the minute. I think I'm going to have to get myself a little order in. Get myself a faction to paint up for Dead Zone. And maybe treat myself and my wife to a couple of new Dreadball teams. Scott says, after spending £116 on the new Infinity pre-order and now Dead Zone, the long-haired general. Rob says he was also thinking about getting the Forge Fathers as a new faction. Then I saw the topic for tonight. What a coincidence. What can I say, mate? Reading minds now. Adam Edgar, good morning, future boy. How are you doing? Christian says you can also support the channel by grabbing a t-shirt, just like the one Andy's not wearing tonight. Thank you very much for sharing that link, Christian. I promise I'll wear one on Wednesday when I do the painting stream. Kruger says, unfortunately, metal is pretty rare in the Dead Zone range. I think most of the troublesome Mantic metals are fairly old ones. Tends to be, yeah, resin stuff and that now. Claudia says, who would want to play another game? Exactly, mate. Scott saying the wife will kill him. But on a plus note, it's my birthday next month. There you go, mate. Scott says, Luke's APS has a video on painting the terrain, which is very good. I have to check it out, mate. More Corley says, the reason I opted for Dead Zone over other sci-fi skirmish games are 1, the entry cost, 2, the game mechanics are really simple, and 3, the quality of the faction models is awesome. I'll be honest, historically, with my old kind of lens on, I wasn't that blown away by the Dead Zone factions. However, when I've gone back and looked at them again, I don't know whether my tastes have changed, whether there's more stuff that I didn't see the first time around, or whatever it is. There's a lot of stuff that I like, if I'm honest. I think there's something for everyone in that range. We've got Pabook, I think it is. Nice to see you, Pabook. Saying Pathfinders are some of his favourites, and there's a lot of hard plastic PVC minis for Dead Zone these days. Actually, nice. Mike J saying, for terrain in Dead Zone, it's really easy to make your own once you know everything is a grid or cube. Yeah, that's the other side of it as well. You can easily make it out, okay, foam board and stuff. Like it's basically a 3-inch by 3-inch cube. So different Busey says, is it 150 points or 1500 points? It's 150 points, mate, in this. Rusted Beetle saying 150 to 200. That's great. Where are we seeing? Sam Goose says, I want someone to make YouTube battle reports of Dead Zone campaign with a narrative. Oh, I wonder if I could do that. That might be quite nice, actually. Dr. Kruger saying, yeah, the starter set, it's very sparse. It is quite sparse, I would say. It's perfect for getting started, but as soon as you enjoy it, you'll want to buy more, that's for sure. Sam Goosey, I want someone to make a YouTube. We've just been talking about that one with narratives. Tom the Bomb. Good evening, mate. Nice to see you in. Mark says, all my friends are here. We'll have to get some. Once the lockdown's off, we'll get in, mate. We'll get in. Robert says, do I have an urge to put together a Plague Strider? Do it, mate. Rusted Beetle says, Family Gamers 777, Way to Fire, Dead Path Zone, 3 Dead Zone focus channels. They are, mate. Yeah, I don't know the Dread Path Zone guys so well. But I do know Andy from Way to Fire, and I know Coach as well from Family Gamers. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you're into Dead Zone and you want to check out some battle reports, I would definitely recommend go and check those ones out. Scott saying, 87, both codes arrived. Vormwood saying, Mantic caught me off guard and just picked up Walking Dead super cheap. I have Sedition Wars minis I could use to try out the rules. Try it out, mate. It's all about giving it a try. Patrick saying, Patrick was saying something to legit up. He says, I'm back from my USMC for bolt action. Nice, mate. Dr. Kruger says, between the two, Dead Zone has benefited hugely from being a second edition. I like Vanguard a lot, but prefer Dead Zone for its general slickness. I think Dead Zone has that. The second edition gave it a chance to kind of to understand the things that worked really well and the things that didn't work quite so well. I think the card mechanics were a little bit clunky. And I love the addition of the command dice. So yeah, I think Dead Zone Second Edition is in a really good place. Claudio said he's got a few Marauders that he bought. Got some second hand. He wants to paint for ages. That's it, mate. Get them done. Steve saying he got battered by the missus in a game of Dreadball on Saturday evening. Landslide after 7 rushes. Steve, I expect better of you, mate. And Glenn saying scale-wise, are Dead Zone minis the same size as Dreadball stuff, or are they bigger? They're probably a little bit bigger, mate, than Dead Zone. The Dead Zone one, than Dreadball. The Dreadball ones are a little bit on the smaller scale, I would say, more to kind of fit on their on those smaller hexes. Kieran's in as well. Nice to see you, mate. He's saying he's late, but he got on. That's what I like to see, mate. Coming in. Claudia said, if you play a Star Saga, you get a faction for each expansion. How are the Dead Zone Marauder minis? The dainty running Marauder is pretty funny. Let's have a look, mate. Let's have a look. Let's see how the Dead Zone Marauder minis are. Shop, Dead Zone, Marauders. Let's go across right monitor. So, if we're going to start with a faction starter, let's see what you get inside there. So, just as an example, folks, this one's $24.99. It comes with 20 bespoke metal and plastic multi-part models. So there's a plastic commando, 2 metal Moor Beasts, plastic Moor Beast bombers, 8 plastic commandos, 1 plastic commando pyro, 4 plastic goblin snipers, 2 plastic ripper suits, plus the bases as well. So these are the metal minis, I believe, which have the kind of the Moor Beasts, which have the little kind of chainsaw tongue things on them. The rest of them are all plastic in this set. So that's what you get in your faction starter for. So 20 models for 25 quid. And then you're gonna get a $5 off that as well for the 20% off code. That's not bad, is it? 20 models for 20 quid, and that's what you're getting inside. It's not a bad deal, to be fair, is it? It's worth dipping your toe in. Yeah, I quite like them. And then you've got sort of expansions and stuff. So there's like a booster faction. So this is what I was talking about. If you were to win the £25 store credit, you could pick yourself up one of these booster factions. And these are the kind of stuff that you're getting in the boosters. This is kind of the hardcore stuff, I think, isn't it? You start to get into some of these big, he's running along there with his claw, these kind of like tank type stuff, vehicles. I've no idea what that thing is, but it looks pretty mean. Yeah, and the big suits, which are quite nice actually. So yeah, that's kind of stuff that you get in those. Aaron Brown, nice to see you, Aaron Brown. Says, how are the Dead Zone Marauder minis? That was just talking about. Steve Evans is saying, you can't not love the Plague. I do like the Plague, actually, I have to say. John Gregory, hello, buddy, how you doing? He says, been looking at this, then boom, vid comes up to tip me over the edge. Welcome to the club, John. To be honest, I've been getting like tipped over the edge to get back into it again, really, because like I said before about sort of reassessing all of the games I've got on my shelves. Which ones are the ones I'm never going to play again? Which are the ones I need to give more time to? And Dead Zone was one of those ones where it's like I've got this box set to kind of get painted and stuff. I should really get on and do it. And that's what prompts these kind of videos, basically talking about the stuff that I want to do. So I'm not here to try and sell stuff. You buy what you want. Don't buy anything. It makes no difference to me. I don't make money or lose money depending upon what happens tonight. So yeah, I'm just trying to show you the hobby that I'm interested in. Where are we at? John Francis, the plague are rough, but doesn't make them bad people. Kieran says, how's Dead Zone gone down so far? It seems to have gone down pretty good, mate. We've averaged kind of 90 people tonight, which is a pretty good for a Monday live. Matt Mountain says it feels like a great time to be a Mantic fanatic. I would agree, mate. I think Mantic have not done themselves any harm in the current lockdown, giving them a lot of stuff away free, lots and lots of live stream stuff, lots of information, and I think the lack of kind of GW availability is giving people a chance to open their eyes and look elsewhere. I think it's good time for Mantic at the moment. Krabby says, right, I think I'm going Rebs just to grab a couple of faction starters. I tell you what, Krabby, if you're going Rebs, that might get me to change my mind, and I might do something else then, because I assume at some point we might get a game in, mightn't we? Josh Price says he runs a tabletop gaming club to help people with their mental health by tabletop gaming. Just brought Dead Zone to learn while in lockdown, ready to teach people. Josh, first of all, thank you for coming to the stream tonight. Second of all, that is absolutely awesome. I really do appreciate you giving up your time to do something like that. And I'm sure Dead Zone will be. It's not a brain burner. It's the kind of game that you really can kind of pick up quite quickly, and you'll be showing people how to play that in no time, mate. So yeah, well done, mate. Patrick saying for now his main faction of Forge Fathers. I do like the Forge Fathers, mine, to be fair. It's just I'm painting all them dwarfs up for Kings of War. I fancy a bit of a change. Lizzie Binham's in as well. Says, is there much support for the game from Mantic cores? Are we just accustomed to getting level? Are we just accustomed to getting the level of support for the game? I don't know, mate. I don't have a lot to do with the Mantic. I'm assuming, do you mean Mantic cores, or do you just mean Mantic? Do you mean the what they called, like the Pathfinders? I don't have a lot to do with them, mate. I'm not sure. Aaron Brown says not bad. I don't know what that was talking about. But hello, Aaron Brown, by the way. Patrick says, I mentioned before, head to Deep Cut Studios. You can get a gaming mat with a print of your choice. I must have missed that, mate. I'll have to have a look at that. I do like Deep Cut Studios mats, to be fair. Claudia's saying, Lizzie, you're an update every 2 years. Little one with a few new units. Yeah, there's some new stuff coming as well, to be fair. If you have a look on Mantic Games' YouTube channel, they were given like the sort of, it was the Adepticon updates. They did a bit of an update about Dead Zone, about what's coming. Some really nice new models coming, to be fair. Scott saying, would you go Rebs Alpha Team or Rebs Faction? I'd probably go Alpha Team, I think, mate. I quite like them. Adam says, what's the code you're talking about? It's a code for 20% off any of the Dead Zone stuff, mate. And the code is BlackJack DZ, all one word, capital letters. Christian, thank you very much there, mate. He's sharing the Patreon there. I'm going to kind of give it my plug now. So basically, you know, folks, this is now my full-time gig. This is how I earn my wage now. All of that is supported by you folks in the community. Help me out on Patreon and buying the t-shirts and all of that kind of stuff. Without you doing that, this thing couldn't happen. This channel, these kind of the ability to make videos about lesser known or less popular games wouldn't happen, because I'd be reliant upon the views and reliant upon YouTube ad revenue. I'd be reliant upon companies paying me to kind of promote their games rather than promoting the games that I choose to want to do it. So yeah, even from $2 a month, where you get access to the private Discord chat, right the way through to the higher tiers where you get free stuff. $5 a month, for example, gets you a monthly podcast, gets your name at the end of every one of my videos. If you pledge more, $10 gets you all of that stuff. Plus, you also get a free mug as well. So yeah, please do check it out. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what keeps this channel going, and it's what allowed me to kind of to do this and really make the channel about the stuff that's not just the big boys, not what everybody else does. We're talking about Warpath tonight, doing that kind of stuff. We talk about Dead Zone kind of little narrative campaigns. It's the kind of stuff that kind of the smaller, you know, these smaller games, and that's no disrespect to Mantic, but they're not as big as 40k. These smaller games need some room to breathe as well, and that's what I intend to bring. And the only reason I can do that is because folks support me through Patreon, so thank you very much. Where are we at? Pabuk saying play for the win. Thank you, mate. Claudio saying Rebs Alpha is Monster Elite. The other gives you plenty of options. I quite like Elite though as well, mate, to be fair. But there's nothing saying that'll be my one and only. That's the thing. Mark was just saying something. Although Mantic has stolen the live stream adventure book. Rob's going through a Dungeon Saga adventure. Oh, yeah, I saw that they were doing that tonight. That's a pretty cool idea, though. Peter says, if I'd known about Mantic Games before GW, my loft would be a very different boxes. I think there's a few people might have said that, actually. Pabuk says, Dead Zone is super fun game, quick cinematic, tactical, just loving it. Nice one. Red Cookster, nice to see you in. Says, never looked at Dead Zone before. Is it a game you can play solo? I love Mantic, just painting Wave 6 of All Out War. There are some solo stuff, mate, in the Nexus Psi expansion, which is free to download online at the moment. But it's essentially a two-player game, really. But there is some solo aspects to it. Steve saying Matsudan, yeah, the new Matsudan stuff is coming for Dead Zone, and I forget what it's called now. The big thing, which looks really cool. Tim Kelly says had his eye on Dead Zone, mainly to buy extra minis for Star Saga. Man, hide my wallet, damn you. Sorry, mate. David Mackinson just dropped some Mars base ready material. Now I have bright red hands. Oh dear, mate. Scott saying Mantic website's going to be busy at the Mantic Elves. Will be busy over the next few days. Yeah, if you folks do decide to check it out, please do let Mantic, you know, head to the Fanatics group or whatever it is, or into my group. Let Mantic know that you bought it because you saw it here. It doesn't cost you anything to kind of to tell them that, and at least they know that, you know, kind of this kind of stuff works, and they'll give us more codes and more giveaways and stuff in the future as well, and help support this channel. Barry Kleiber says DZ, is Z a word or a letter? Sounds like a name. That's because typical Americans, Z for you guys, isn't it? Z, as we say Z in the UK, so we would say like XYZ. You see XYZ. I'll have to remember that. Terry Bass says, only looked on the Mantic site once, never realised you could see great close-ups of the models. I'll spend a couple of hours tomorrow drooling. Yeah, I only realised recently, mate, if you go scroll to the bottom of the little bit where you can buy it, click on it, it kind of zooms into a bigger picture. Pabuk says you can download it in the Mantic eShop. All you need is basic box and some zombies. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you can use zombies from anything. You could use zombies from Walking Dead if you wanted just to try the game out. John Francis just donated as well on the super chat. Thank you very much, John Francis. Hugely appreciated. That's where we are. Red Cookster saying, we'll check it out, mate. Fantasy or sci-fi, I'm all over it. Nice one, mate. Yeah, we do have a few new faces in there here tonight as well. Thank you very much, especially if you guys have come over from the Mantic, what's it called, the ping's going off, got my mind frazzled. The Dead Zone Fanatics group. If you've got any folks coming from the Dead Zone Fanatics group, thank you for coming over and helping out as well. You folks are a lot more knowledgeable than I am. I'm probably midway in my journey. I know enough to be dangerous, not enough to be a kind of an expert. But yeah, if you want to subscribe to the channel, I'd love it if you subscribe. I noticed a stat the other day that says something like only 7% of my subscribers click the bell notification to make sure they're notified when a new video goes live. Please, everybody, click that bell notification. What that does is, when I upload a new video, YouTube will send everybody with the notification clicked. It sends them a notification to say Andy's got a new video live, and then basically if you watch it, it's that initial kind of velocity of views is what then gets YouTube triggering to share it out to a wider audience. So yeah, that really helps me out. Costs you nothing, helps me out. Matt says he's a Pathfinder and Dead Zone is a game we support a lot due to ease of tournament play. Thank you, mate. I forgot you were a Pathfinder. Clara says you can use all your Dead Zone minis with a Star Saga character creator tool. Nice one, mate. Mike G says Zed is the bad guy on Power Rangers. Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. He's the one from Pulp Fiction with the motorbike. Scott's saying free Dead Zone boosters. Please, Mantic. VJ says, yeah, made it back before the end of the stream. Nice to see you, VJ. Steve says, just look how much Forge Fathers cost points-wise. You only need to paint about 6 or 8 models. I've already got some Forge Fathers as well. That's the thing. I wouldn't even have to spend anything because I have got my Forge Father. And I think I've got my Plague models as well. I might just... should I just paint what I've got or should I start something new? Where are we gone? Let's just jump there. Adam says, Uppish just tipped over the coffee table and accidentally bought Dead Zone. Those pesky coffee tables, mate, clicking on them buttons. Pabuk says, too late in my time zone. Enjoy the rest of the evening. See you some of the Dead Zone battlefields. Thanks for coming in, Pabuk. Much appreciated. Dr. Kruger saying, not to forget, Zed is also Sean Connery's character in Zorros. I haven't seen that, mate. Yeah, Barry Clive was saying the one in Pulp Fiction. Exactly, that's the one I was thinking of. VJ says, small win for me last night. Managed to get his wife to play the game I bought for her, the Harry Potter Hogwarts deck builder. Mark Berracloth speaks very highly of that one, mate, I think. George is in as well. Hello, fella. He says, joining in late after another X-Wing game in the shed. Nice one, mate. Should have been Dead Zone. Next week it will be. Steve saying just don't listen to Claudio. He loves the revs too much. Claudio saying, Steve, we got a set list in the Dead Zone, it seems. 100%, mate. You need to battle you two when things go back to normal. Thank you, Christian, for sharing the affiliate link as well. Claudio says, wait to fire got a pandemic solo scenario where you can use any minis as enemies on a planet named COVID-19 with social distancing special rule. I'll have to check out. I saw that they've been linking some stuff, mate, but I've not watched it yet. BJ saying, not bad game. Only managed to play through the first movie. Plan to do the next one Wednesday. Nice one. Tony saying, and the wired voiced guy in Police Academy is called Zed. Is he really? Is he? I don't think I ever knew that. Oh, the weird guy, sorry. Richard Smith, love to give some Mantic games a go. Walking Dead, Kings of War, Dead Zone, so many to choose from. Somebody asked me the other day in the Facebook group about like who did I think was the kind of like the best company overall, like value for money, customer support, range of games, that kind of stuff. And I said Mantic basically. I just find the games don't give me a headache. I don't feel like I've got to constantly relearn them. So for example, I haven't had a game of Vanguard in a little while, but I feel like I could kind of just pick it up and play again now. I haven't played Dead Zone in a while, but I still remember enough of the rules to probably get kickstart a game and get going again. I couldn't say that about like Age of Sigmar. I've not played in a while. I couldn't say that about that game, that's for sure. Richard saying he has a load of old minis that might fit Kings of War. We'll have to have a crack about and see what lists cross over. Nice one. Scott saying play them all. We do. Well, folks, that's been a lively chat tonight. Do folks want to crack on for a bit longer? I've not even spoke about anything else except Dead Zone tonight. Do people want to crack on for a little bit longer? Or you kind of, because normally I would wrap it up about past. But to be fair, if people want to go on, I've still got water left. I'll have a drink while you're thinking about it. Phil says the vid's on fire. He says give it a like, but I'm very tired, so I'd get on my bike. Thanks and good night. Thank you, Phil. Thanks for popping in. Claudio says, what? It's 1.5 hours already? It is, mate. We've done 90 minutes of Dead Zone already. But I'm happy to crack on for a bit longer. Richard says, my wallet might not agree. Claudio says, I'm here to stay. Nice one. I'll stay for a bit longer. We've still got 82 people in, so let's just keep going. Scott says, tell us how excited you are for Infinity. I am excited for Infinity, mate. I've not had a chance to read through the new rule book yet. It's like 80 odd pages, 90 pages. I want to have a really good read through it and digest it and see what Code 1 has to offer. Dice Tales was wondering when Code 1 versus Dead Zone. I think when I know more about it, mate, I think I'll definitely probably do some kind of comparison. Maybe kind of like Code 1, Dead Zone and Kill Team as a good comparison, I think. But yeah, the rules for Code 1, which is Infinity's new kind of like streamlined version, only just came out tonight, and I've downloaded them, haven't had a chance to read through them. So once I've once I've kind of absorbed them, I'll definitely do more about that. John Francis says, for Age of Sigmar, all you need to know is extra dice roll for having a beard has been removed. Yeah, I played quite a bit, like sort of quite some time ago. But was it before? General's Handbook was obviously out, so it was when the game was more like it is now, to be fair. I didn't play when it was in them weird rules. But yeah, I just can't keep up with that one, to be fair. Kieran says, tell me more about his idea of a small Dead Zone campaign. I like those. Yeah, somebody mentioned like tonight about like having like a little narrative campaign. And I've been thinking about doing narrative kind of battle reports. Because I'm not a competitive person. I'm never going to, like, you're not going to learn kind of tactics from me. So I've been wondering if I can do something a little bit different and maybe make them a bit more cinematic and a bit more narrative rather than just like two people sitting there rolling dice and see what happens. Give it something different to what like everybody else does, kind of thing. So the cogs are ticking, mate. I need to see how I can do it and make it look interesting. But I'm considering doing like more narrative battle reports. So, and also it's another good way as well to doing it when the other person isn't that keen on being on camera. They feel a bit uncomfortable about it. If I do it more about the game, it's an idea. Where we at? Crowley says he's still got 3 bases to finish. Red Cookster says Mantic Games surprised with their Wave 6 minis for All Out War. Definitely going to check out Dead Zone on their website. Yeah, the Wave 6 stuff, I've not seen it in the flesh, mate, but I've seen people's photographs. It looks really clean, really crisp. Robert says he's here for the duration until his wife gets home. Okay, mate. Richard says, didn't catch much of tonight, sorry, lads. Can you use any minis in Dead Zone then? You can use any minis you want, mate. Obviously, Mantic do their own miniature range as well, but there's nothing stopping you using whatever you want. To be fair, the same as any other game. Like, if you can use any minis you want in 40k if you want to. But if you're going to go to like even Mantic events, I don't think they're that kind of like fussed on it really. But whilst there's a range, I like to kind of support the company, to be fair. Tony Booth Leiden says, can't wait for Code 1, hopefully any day now. Yeah, well, the rules got launched tonight, mate, so the full Code 1 rules are available now. So you can give them a read through. And yeah, the bits should be on their way at some point. Scott said he's played a couple of games at Infinity last night. Amazing. Glenn says, I like when a rule set is easy to remember and pick back up when you haven't gotten to play a game in a while. Walking Dead is a great example. Glenn, that is exactly the kind of game that I like. It's one of the reasons I like Warcry so much. It was as far as Games Workshop go, it was such a streamlined rule set. So that was one of the reasons I really liked that game, because it was like nothing else that GW normally do. But it's the reason I keep coming back to Mantic, to be fair. Walking Dead, Dreadball, Dead Zone, Kings of War, all those things, the rules are just easy to kind of remember. And there's so many similarities between them with adding dice rather than changing stats. It just really helps. Dice Tales, hello Mark, by the way. His group said Dead Zone was Infinity Light. I can see that, mate, because it is quite tactical. It is about kind of, you don't want to move out and leave yourself wide open kind of thing, the same way you don't in Infinity. So yeah, I think there will be a bit of a, there's a similar place, albeit different board sizes and that kind of stuff as well. Matt says, keep going, he's still painting his Dead Zone. Okay, mate. Fat Cat says, off topic completely, but pre-order the Elder Scrolls game from Element using your affiliate link. Thank you very much, sir. Any thoughts on the game or when we might see it? To be honest, mate, it looks a bit fiddly for me personally. There seem to be a lot of different dice and a lot of different stats and things like that. But I'm only going by what I've seen online. I've not played it. I might actually play it and find out it's the best game I've ever played. So I'm not reviewing it and kind of giving it a bad press or anything. It doesn't look like it kind of will be my normal kind of game. I'm not intending to buy it myself because lay out my own money kind of thing, because it's not really something I would probably pick up. But if Medivia sent me one to have a look at, I would have a look at it kind of thing. So yeah, so no plans to have it on the channel, mate, unless somebody sends me a copy to review. Claudio says, in the Infestation and Nexus sidebooks, There's a narrative, a little unbalanced two-player campaign each, with each player having different objectives. I don't mind them being unbalanced when it's narrative. It just adds to the... Because, to be fair, in a normal battle, there's always one side's got the edge, to be fair, isn't there? And it's almost a case of... It becomes a different battle. Like, it becomes about how long can you hold out before you get beat. That kind of stuff. Where's that just gone? That's just jumped off the top of my screen again. That was a hell of a lot of chat come through at once. Scott saying you sparked me interest in Dead Zone again tonight. No worries, mate. Jonathan saying, getting back in the hobby after about a 6-year break, looking to get a paint set. Anyone heard much about Creature Caster or Monument Pro Acryl Range? I haven't, mate. I'm sure somebody in the chat will, but I can't give you an advice on that one. Jimmy G, Scott says, see, you got your weekly rules fixed, mate. Krabby says, I'm happy to get involved, mate. I'll dress up and sing. Kieran says, love it. Use the game to tell a story and the unfolding story becomes content too. That's kind of where I'm at, mate. Because I'm not going to... I don't want to do just like one game of it and then never have it on the channel again. If I'm going to spend my time building terrain and painting terrain and building war bands and painting them and all that kind of stuff, I want to get some use out of them. I don't want to just make one-off videos, but I don't watch a lot of battle reports because I'm not like a tactical gamer. I don't watch them to try and kind of to learn from them, if you like. So I'm trying to come up with something that interests me so that that'll come across on camera. Because if I'm not enjoying it, you're going to know I'm not enjoying it. So thinking about like little narrative kind of campaign stuff, I think that could be a nice happy medium. Where are we at? Peter saying he likes the narrative battle idea. Red Cook says narrative battle report sounds awesome. Naming your main miniatures for story led scenario. Yeah, I think so, mate. Dice Tail says where the old white dwarf bat rep in the magazine staged as in the predetermined outcome for the story, or were it easier? Scott says, could we all not do some solo narrative games and combine them to form some sort of campaign? Tell you what, mate, I'm sure you probably could. Craig saying in the Dead Zone expansion books, next to Psy Infestation, there are campaigns that tell the story of Enforcers versus Plague and Veeman. I do need to pick up that expansion book, to be fair, just to have a read through it. Scott's saying, yeah, once you all get them paid. Be good at trying. I think that's like essentially what Mantic do with their summer campaigns, isn't it? Clario says before lockdown he played a Dead Zone game against a good buddy. He played Mercs, I played Mason Labs, and his little one played the AI zombies. You can add to a versus game. He smashed his dad. Hot dice, nice one. Steve says Dead Zone is the same. I hadn't played it for 6 months, went to a tournament, everything came back in the first turn. It's what I love about the Mantic stuff, to be fair. VG is saying, I have to agree with the idea of adding and subtracting dice is a lot more attractive. It just means that you're not having to try and remember. I mean, there's still modifiers to remember. Like if you're out in the open, you add 2 dice to the shoot. So there's still stuff to remember, but it's not this. There's something much more straightforward about having a fixed stat line that I remember, rather than having a varying stat line that I have to keep on top of. So it's, oh, well, I've got this weapon which always turns this 3+ into a 2+, and there's just so much kind of like tracking to do. I like having fixed stats. Again, that's what I like about Warcry. I've got them cards in front of me. It's always that. That's what I like about it. Where are we up to? Mike Jeezy, I've got some done building some Mantic Ogres and way too many spare parts. If they sold bodies only, I could double up. I know what you mean, mate. Michael Burke says, anyone know some good tutorials on painting Mantic miniatures, especially Northern Alliance? You can try. I think both Miniac and Luke's APS, when the Kings of War 3rd edition new starter set came out, they both did sponsored videos on painting those models. So check those 2 out, mate. Group narrative game sounds great. VJ says, hoping the code lasts at least a few weeks as I'm holding on to cash at the moment. I'll check with Rob tomorrow, mate. I'll double check and see how long that code's up for. Tony says his missus just said, tell you, your last video was awesome. Best video ever. I could go off her. Thank you very much, Mrs. Booth Leiden. Your support is well wanted. Scott says, seems there's some interest in the campaign. Yeah, Luke's APS one done using contrast paints. Yeah, I think both him and Miniac did them as well, mate. Steve Evans says, yeah, my missus said Andy was talking a lot of sense. See, you're all giving me grief now. I've had in huge big letters what that video was about. You were not surprised when you watched it. Daniel Engel says, looking forward to getting this. Thank you, Andy and Rob from Mantic. I will pass on your thanks tomorrow, mate, when I drop them a question about the date and stuff. But yeah, like I say, folks, anybody that does go, anything you see on my channel, doesn't matter whether it's Mantic, whether it's any other company, if there's something you see from me that piques your interest and you decide to go and sort of spend some money, even if you go to a shop, tell them where you saw it. It really does kind of help me to get other companies interested in sharing their stuff with me so I can share it with you. Like, doing this is my full-time job now. I can't just go and spend all the money I earn on buying 25 different starter sets. That doesn't make it a sustainable business. What makes it sustainable is if those companies send me something to review, to put in front of you, and then that way I'm not being paid by them. I can give you my honest opinion. So by putting the word out, by telling companies where you saw their stuff recommended or whatever it was, it kind of helps me out. So yeah, please, that's one way you can support the channel as well. Adam says we don't watch these vids to appeal to our wives. I'm not above kind of like spreading the demographics out, mate. I have a very high percentage of male viewers. I'm quite happy to get that number near a 50-50. Busey saying, not sure it's legal to spend government support money on hobby stuff. I'm sure it probably is. Robert says his wife says hi and got to go. Thank you, Robert. Say hi to your wife as well. Thank you very much. Scott says hope the code will last past the 7th of May. I would imagine it probably will, mate, to be fair. Rob normally does them for about a month or something like that, so I'll check with him tomorrow, like I say. VG says, I noticed Mantic have Riverhorse games on their website. What's the connection? The connection between the two companies, mate, is probably Alessio. So Alessio Cavatori owns Riverhorse. Alessio Cavatori has a good relationship with Ronnie Renton, who owns Mantic, because they both worked at GW. Alessio wrote the rules for Kings of War, so it's probably just some kind of like reciprocal business kind of thing going on there, really. So yeah, that's probably where it is. Terry saying, off the bed, Andy, thanks for another fantastic night. Really great show. Thank you, Terry, and thank you as well for your very kind donation tonight. VGS is including the worst game ever. There can be only one. Right, folks. Busey saying, it is, but I'm telling myself I'm not. Yeah, I'm not surprised, mate. Let me get my throat's drying out now, folks. Right, so I need to decide then what I'm going to paint up. I've got quite a bit on the table at the minute because, like I said before, now this is my job. A few companies actually have reached out and have started to send me some stuff now. So I'm not hobbying for fun anymore at the minute. I'm hobbying for work. So I've been building up some models from a starter set that a company has sent me. I won't say too much about it because I'm a little while off getting them to a stage where I can kind of show you them. I've got half the starter box pretty much built now. I had something else sent to me tonight, and I think I mentioned this tonight, about something that's coming soon to Kickstarter from the company that make the Drowned Earth. They've got a kind of like a board game, miniatures game crossover coming, which you can play solo or co-op. So I've got like a bit of a demo set that they sent out to me. I need to paint up some miniatures for it, which are over there, ready to be primed tomorrow. And I've also got some other stuff that's halfway through being videoed as well. So I've got loads of stuff on the go now. I'm not getting any of my personal hobby stuff in at the minute. So yeah, I need to do that. Where are we at? VG saying, okay, good to know. I think Alessio's rules are great. Yeah, Alessio writes some good rules, to be fair. VG says there can be only one, worst game ever. VG, I want that t-shirt. Claudio says, get something new you really want. Show us the progress that you bought till finished and do some Forge Fathers or Plague or whatever as a side project. Play against Krabby. Yeah, I'll need to decide what I want. Scott saying, get some Dead Zone terrain painted at the start of your Dead Zone faction. Yeah, I definitely will get that done, mate, as well. I'm actually busy in the background. So I spent pretty much all of yesterday building models. So that shows what's going on at the minute. Red Cooks says, great stream, mate. Have a good night. Happy painting. He's off to paint. Base paint Heath, Maggie, and Rick Grimes. Thank you very much for coming in, mate. I'll catch you later on. And Krabby says, all those models to paint there. First world issues. To be honest, mate, the problem I've got is it's because it's gone from kind of like from nothing at all to everything at once. And like some of my stuff, like the stuff that I'm doing for the company that's got a Kickstarter coming up, I'll still kind of play it and I'll tell you whether I think it's any good or not. So this is not like a paid promotion thing, but I still have to build the models. I still have to paint the models to put them on the stream. I've got to learn how to play the game. Then I've got to film it all, but I've got a bit of a deadline because it needs to be done by the time the Kickstarter goes live, which is only next week. So it is first world problems, mate. But it's a different kind of pressure. It's weird. It's new to me, to be fair. VJ says, looking forward to replacing his Bugman's mug with his BlackJack Legacy personalised mug. Yes. So VJ, Krabby, Vision, and Marco all won the mugs last week. All your mugs got sent out today, and I have personalised them. So you each have a different mug. So I want to see some photographs in the Facebook group when they arrive. Scott said he's spent his days off building the Red Veil miniatures. How did you find them sticking together, mate? I've struggled in the past super gluing together metal miniatures. I've had to use like bits of tissue paper in the joins and stuff to try. I think I need to get like an activator. I think that's what the problem is. Where are we at? Krabby saying, I'll paint some stuff up for you, mate. If you need, just send it over. To be honest, mate, I might tap you up for that. Mark saying he's got the new Burrows and Badges campaign book coming this week. Yeah, I saw that been released at the weekend as well. Krabby saying he's run out of his other stuff other than his Storm Raven. Harsh, mate, run out of stuff. The world's going to come to an end. Scott's saying a nightmare, but I use isopropyl alcohol as an activator. I think I need to buy myself like a super glue and activator just to get them to go off. Dave's saying drilling and pin helps with them as well. That's what I ended up doing. So the stuff I've been building today. Actually, there's some of them over here. Can I reach across and get them? So, I can reach. So the stuff I've been building today is these dinosaurs, and they're all metal. And there's like the head joins the body. I think this front leg joins here. This half a leg, I know you can't see them really, because it's on a max focus as well, a fixed focus, you won't be able to see them. But yeah, there you go. They were absolute bitch to stick together. But yeah, it's done now. It's done. VJ is saying, finally got around to learn how to use Tabletop Simulator the other day. Looking forward to doing more remote gaming. Nice one, mate. Krabby Vision said, I did get a start date for my new job, though. Awesome, mate. Congrats. I'm really pleased to hear some good news. Dice Tail says, ooh, Drowned Earth. They are the Drowned Earth miniatures, mate, but it's for a new game that's coming from Drowned Earth. So I've got some reading to do. But yeah, you should see that, all being well and all goes to plan. You should see that on the channel. If not the end of this week, it'll be early next week because their Kickstarter starts next week. Moxie and I have literally hundreds I could paint still. Batman, yeah, I have as well, mate. Peter Kuhlman, nice to see you, Peter. Says, just joined, had to work. Ordered Dead Zone starter last night. Had a big Asterian force, a Veman force, and some characters. Excited to get started again. Nice one, mate. Yeah, you'll really like the jump from version 1 to version 2. It's a really, really much improved version. Kyle says, Steve wanted to write something, but my mood was just too good. Thanks, mate. Christian says, the Utahraptors are a pain in the ass. Oh, honestly, mate. Utahraptors and Dimetrodons as well. I mean, look at this. Thankfully, they were single piece. I didn't have to glue them together. But yes. So dinosaur hunting, mate, coming soon to a channel near you. David Mackey says, as Ian says a lot, Dead Zone is life. Yes. And I think, folks, because my throat's starting to go now, I'm going to call it a night there. But thank you everybody that's come at night. Thank you again to all the Patreons who support me. Thank you to anyone that's donated on the live stream tonight as well. I will also say I'll be doing another painting stream on Wednesday. So Wednesday, 8:30 PM UK time, there'll be a painting stream. At this rate, I might be painting up dinosaurs, I don't know. And we'll see what that'll be. But yeah, if you fancy hanging out, if you've got some Dead Zone stuff, you want to sit and paint or something like that, head over to back here, Wednesday, 8:30 PM. I'll get my words out in a minute. My mind's puzzled. This is what happens when you try and talk, read stuff, and do other things at once. Or I'm just getting old. And I'm going to end on that note tonight from Dr. Kruger there. Good night all. May Fisty Glue Man strengthen your adhesion. Thank you very much. Cheers, folks. Catch you all on Wednesday. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month, and there is lots of different tiers and bonuses which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.